latest big PTR patch. So first off, let's see, available until April 13th. I don't know if that's the day it'll the live server. It's a week, so that'll be interesting about next Tuesday. So okay, so they're changing Nexus and Anomaly. Um, One thing is that this doesn't mention the XP globes. I'm assuming those are staying in. I think those have been pretty well received, and I think they fit in the game pretty well, so I don't see why they would be removed or anything. So yeah. Okay, so they think summons minions and other stuff makes diving structures too easily, and that forts and keeps and towers aren't as defensively, there's not like a very good safety zone around them, basically. They're not, they don't feel as safe as they should. So they're making a beam to see what's being attacked easier. I like that. I've already skimmed through these a little bit, so I can kind of go through a little bit faster here, but you can obviously pause and read if you'd like, or go and read it yourself, because I'll probably link this, but currently there's not a link up. But anyway, so yeah, there's a beam on the target. I think that's good, because I've definitely died, I don't even know how many times, over the course of thousands of games, or hundreds of games, by not realizing I was the one being hit by a structure. So if you're diving somebody and you're hitting them, and they're an enemy hero, the structure will now focus you, even if there's minions in range, so that'll make diving much harder. I think this makes the value of Sylvanas go up even higher, and she's already like one of the best ranged heroes in the game, so that's kind of weird. But it means like a Nubarak isn't as good, Nazeebo isn't as good, Zagara isn't as good for diving towers, and notably Zul, who's kind of broken, not as good for diving anymore. What is going to be good is burst damage. You can't really do a sustained dive unless you have something like Sylv. And then they focus until the target is dead or leaves tower range. So you could also just... I mean, you could do stuff with Zeratul still by blinking out of range and resetting it, maybe. But anyway, there's a bright beam, so it's defending an allied hero. So that just makes your teammates like aware that... Is this for the other team to see that it's stronger now? And that's why it's focusing them? I'm not sure which side this is for, but I guess it's another visual indication feedback, so that's good. When their target becomes invalid, so this means you can like ice block and reset stuff, and reset the targeting, so yeah, you can ice block stuff like that, stasis, and or time stop, maybe. I'm not sure if time stop would reset it. It probably would, because the target would become invalid, or stuff like Sanct, obviously, or D-Shield. So what this should do is allow you to hit the person, cause the thing to focus you, and then you press like ice block, instantly cancel, and then it won't be focusing you, and then you can hit them a second time. I'm not sure really how useful that will be necessarily. It more so would be like you kill them and then you're in the middle of the fort but you still have minions nearby, then you ice block just to get it off of you once the person's dead. That's when this seems more useful to me. And they reset their logic when they recover from being disabled. So you can do the same thing with diving in, finishing them off with disable, and then if you're somehow still under the fort when the disable runs out, or like if you had BP'd it or something, and you're still underneath the fort, that it'll focus minions first, so it won't immediately focus you. They've increased their damage. They reduce hero armor by up to 40. This is really huge. So this is more, you'll be, if you reach the 40 armor, you'll be taking more than 50% more damage. Or you'll have whatever. It's a lot worse than it seems. Like, it's, I don't know how to explain this, but you're taking a lot of damage. Maybe it doesn't work the same as positive armor, but it should. I don't understand that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to do math on that. Anyway, they reduce hero armor by 5, and these do it by 10, so basically you'll hit this cap twice as fast if you're being hit by a fort or a keep. I'm not sure how fast this applies, because it's like a beam now, so is this like, does this stack up within 1 second, or is it like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 seconds or something? I don't know. We'll have to see. No longer slowing heroes is pretty big though from Forts and Keeps. Okay, so there's new core abilities. My initial impression on this is that I'm not a fan of this, and I don't really see why it needs to happen. That's my initial impression, but I'm willing to give it a shot and see how it works in game. One of the main things I don't like is that it varies on every single map, and so you'll eventually just learn it, and they are themed to the map. At first I thought they weren't like fitting the theme of the map or whatever, but like Battlefield and Infernal Shrines, for example, have prison orbs, which is kind of a Diablo theme thing. But like some polymorph, some slow, some root, some knockback. Most of them do some sort of percent health damage. Things like that. So like, it's fine. Most of the time, like I don't know how these spawn, but does this just happen the whole game? Is this only when there's an enemy hero around? Is this only when there's allied heroes around and alive? Because like this just seems like it kind of makes finishing the game, like most of the time when you're finishing the game, like I would say 80% of the time or something, the other team is dead. They're not going to be fighting you, or you've already won the fight and they can't fight you. Like the game is over. It's effectively already been decided. It's just you have to make the health bar go down to 0 for it to be completely confirmed or whatever, but the game is effectively already over. So this just makes that annoying, like more annoying to do. Like I've already done the hard stuff. I already killed their whole team at like level 20, right? I should just have the reward. It takes this feel good moment and turns it into like a weird feels less good moment. I feel like if it doesn't happen when, or if it happens when people aren't even there defending. I don't know, it's weird. So my initial impression is I'm not really a big fan of this. This is fine. I like this. This makes sense to me. This is good. And I think it has some added visual feedback and stuff, and it kind of fixes a tiny problem with the game. Cool. This part's good. The core ability stuff, not as much fan of. But I don't know. Maybe they can tweak it and make it better. I'm curious to see what other people think of this. It's also like some of these are weirdly, like different in timescale. Like doing something every 3 seconds and doing something every 23 seconds is a really drastic difference. That it'll make cores like really wildly different when you're fighting around them. And I'm not sure that's a good thing either. It kind of works for Alterac Pass because it's very clear that that map is different and the whole map works differently around it and things. But when the cores are otherwise identical, except either you're going to be taking damage like every 3 seconds, you can have permanent negative 75 armor, whereas every 23 seconds you take 25 damage. Like, that's really weird to me, but okay. It doesn't say how long like some of these stuff lasts too. Like how long did the tornadoes last? What's the range on the frozen orbs, or how big do they go? And do they? I don't even know. You just have to see it in game, so I don't know. Patch notes could be better on those too, but it's PTR. Mastery rings, that's cool. Let's see, AI trees. Basically making them do dumb stuff less often, and they'll follow people better when they're pinged, especially, and around objectives and stuff. So that's good. This is really cool. I'm gonna have to play with this in game. You can now share and create up to 3 different talent builds for a hero, and you can hyperlink it in chat, and you can save it from other people, and you can base off that in game. This is like probably one of the best features to have ever come in the game. It's kind of a long time overdue, I feel like, probably, but I mean, this is really cool, and I'm really excited about this. And it'll make like every streamer basically has like the bot command in their chat or whatever for every hero build and stuff like that. And there's, you know, multiple websites and stuff like this that have builds that people that shouldn't be writing build guides are making and stuff like that. So yeah, really cool. They're changing Storm League and for Master and GM, so you're not restricted to only duo or solo queue, and the points, whatever, banding like thing doesn't exist anymore either. But what they did is so you can queue up with anybody within 2 leagues. So a GM can queue up with a Master and a Diamond, so that's 2 leagues removed from them. I'm not sure that should happen. I think it should be 1 league for Master and GM. 2 league for Diamond is fine. Like Gold and Diamond is fine, but like Master and Plat is kind of too much, I feel like. And there's, even within Diamond, there's a really big difference between Diamond 5 and Diamond 1, and there's a big difference between 48% Diamond 5 and a 70% win rate Diamond 5. So I think what they should do is start taking into account the win rate in a season for a player at that rank in order to like realize which ones are maybe able to play above their level and are likely to climb, and which ones are not, and stuff like that. I don't know. I think Master and GM should be solo queue only. I think that was the best time the game had a quality like Hero League experience and stuff. I don't know why they don't do that. People say it's queue times. I'm pretty sure it's not queue times. People say people want to play with their friends, but they were fine playing HOTS in Hero League for like years and years, just fine. And they still played with their friends because Unranked and Quick Match and Brawl still all exist. And at this point, pretty much everybody in Master and GM has at least one Smurf anyway, so they can play with their friend on that. Like, I don't know, it's not even an issue. Just make the ladder experience competitive and functional again. They're gonna start making games from the top down. So if there's 10 GMs in queue, I assume it'll make a game out of those 10 GMs. And it won't say, we're going to pick 1 GM from here and 1 GM from there, and then we're going to pick 4 diamonds on each side. And that's the most balanced MMR that we can make it. And it's like, yeah, it's technically, whatever, 5% more balanced MMR, but it's not, because the game just actually turns into either which GM like doesn't get off-rolled because people randomly first pick like D.Va or something. No hate to D.Va players. But, yeah. Or it's like which Diamond player doesn't understand a fundamental part of the game and throws, or something like that. They don't know how to play a map, they don't know how to draft, they don't know what hero goes in which roles, in which lanes, and when to do camps, and all these other like basic things that should happen in Diamond, but they don't. Okay. So yeah, not a fan. I'm a fan of the top-down approach, but I think these could still be tweaked, and I still think it should be solo queue only. That's what they promised when they said they were going to combine into Storm League anyway, like 2 years ago, and they never followed up on that, and I'm still really upset about that, because I was promised solo queue only, and that was the only way that I was fine with Storm League being combined, and because they told me that, I didn't make up a big protest, and now they don't think that it's a big deal important to me, because they confirmed already preemptively that they were going to do it, and then never followed up on it. Anyway, there's some new floating combat text for getting kill. That's cool. Pickup radius is slightly higher on globes, and they follow more closely. That's good, because you could still technically outrun them with mounted or like high movement speed. Yep, bundling matchmaking makes perfect sense to me. Yep, makes sense. There's new bundles. Dark Nexus Phoenix. I'm very excited. Happy Protoss. Weep whoop noises. New mounts. New portraits. Okay, Tesseract rework time. He keeps the beam auto attack, keeps the slow. Your damage and mana increase as you charge it. Okay, so it's like a Void Ray thing. And you gain more mana at max charge. It's bonus after 6 seconds of not channeling. So it's kind of like a Void Ray Hatred kind of thing from Vala. So 14 damage every 0.25 seconds means you multiply that by 4. So it's 56 DPS. That's pretty low at level 1. But then you're also doubling it. So it's 112. It's more decent. I think the slow could be a little higher. I'm wondering if they'll keep that at 10% or if there's talents or something that affect that. Okay, so Q has a delay, and then you channel a beam. It says fast moving, but you're channeling it. So to me, this is like I'm picking on a target, and then I'm following them. Sort of like Azmodan's laser, but it's fast moving. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's more so like a Victor from League type thing. Does damage and slows all enemies in a line. Yeah, so I think it's like a delayed Victor thing. Sort of. But that's pretty high base damage, and the slow is nice. I wonder if they'll play around with like mana stuff, because he's gonna like these are normal mana costs for abilities, but he's gonna have much higher mana regen. Like this is 4 mana regen per second, I think. Oh no, your just base mana regen's increased by 100%. I don't know what his base mana regen is, but that could be pretty high. Plus 3 per second. That's pretty high. That'll add up very quickly. Psionic Storm is basically the same. Force Wall is baseline. I'm so happy. I loved playing Anivia. I'm a Tassadar main now. Watch out. I got the best Force Walls in NA. 21-second cooldown is very long. I think in League, Anivia's is like 18 seconds baseline or something. And it also has a 0.5-second delay. I'm curious to see if this is just the creation delay, or if this is like after you stop moving, you have to channel for like half a second, like Orphea's stuff. And it only lasts 2 seconds. That's not that great. I'm hoping there'll be talents that like make this longer or reduce the delay or something. Or make it bigger somehow. I'm very curious. Or lower cooldown. Because the upgraded 20 is one of the most fun things in the game on old Tassadar with Force Wall. And it's good. The speed of it is good, how it was in the past. So I'm hoping they don't change that and mess with that too much. Okay, Archon. You gain 40% health as shield. Interesting. Reduce spell armor. Oh, and you have the beam fully charged. Okay, cool. So Archon's pretty much the same. Black Hole travels in a long line while traveling, pulls in heroes towards its center. So it's like a moving S of Johan from Li Ming. Touching the center does burst damage and stuns. I wonder how long that line is and how big the black hole is. Does it grow? It doesn't say that it grows. That's pretty interesting. What would be good things to combo with that? I guess like Planet Cracker type stuff. What are some other like line ult things? I mean, there's Final Strike, there's Lens Blast, which is really garbage. From Kira and Falstad respectively. Stuff like that. Interesting. Okay. Heroes hit by Shock Ray, which is your Q. Permanently increase the damage. Okay, so that's like the burst damage option. Increase the range, non-structure enemy. So that's the same. But it's more mana against heroes. So this is like the Wave Clear Siege Safe Soak thing. I wonder if he can be a solo laner. That's also something I'm going to be interested in. Right now, without a shield baseline, he doesn't have any self-sustain. But Wall is really good at assisting ganks if somebody ganks your lane. Or you're the offlaner and somebody's ganking the other offlaner and stuff. Okay. Resonance Beam charges faster. It bounces. That's really huge. Okay, this is doubling your baseline auto DPS. So you're already doubling it, and then you're doubling it again. So when you have full charge, if you can keep up the full charge, so this is like auto attack Tassadar, and it's an actual thing. This is really strong. It's spread damage, so it's not quite as good. I wonder if it can bounce back to the initial target. I'm assuming it can't. So you can't do 150% and 50%. You can only do 150-50 on 3 different targets. But that's still really good. Especially because it charges faster. They don't even need the charges faster, I don't think. And this isn't very long. They could increase this time. I would expect this to get nerfed, I think. I think this can get removed. I think this can go up to 100 and 200. And then it's probably balanced. But this seems really good to me so far. It's the sustain damage. There's like the wave clear safe like macro thing. There's the burst damage, and then there's the sustain damage. So that's really good. I like that. Has 3 very distinct playstyles from level 1. Induction increases move speed. So you can get 25% move speed. And you get that immediately. It's not after the delay, right? I think. So you're going to move 25% faster and they're slowed by 25%. That's very good. It might actually be useful for the auto attack thing. Although you're channeled, but you are slowing people with auto attacks. Interesting. This is really good. A 35% slow near force wall is very strong. And that's 80... No, that's 92 DPS. So you're almost doubling his baseline auto attack damage in this. If you compare this to like other Burning Rage talents and stuff, this is really strong because those just do damage. They don't even have a slow, and the slow means they take damage for longer, and they're having to walk around a wall that's obstructing their path. So it's effectively like they're rooted and then slowed after. This is really strong. Fully charged, gain a shield equal to 3% of max health, stacking up to 15%. This is nice, but I think Electric Fence is going to be too strong for the utility and add too much damage. The point of having a healer in the game is that you don't really need that much self-sustain yourself. They kind of take care of it for you. So this is nice if you're solo laning maybe, or if he's like somehow like a hybrid support DPS type thing. But I think Electric Fence is what I would go with to start with. Attack range is really huge on every hero in the game. And the cooldown is 100% faster. What's the baseline cooldown? 7 seconds? 3.5 second cooldown's pretty short. You'll eat through your mana a lot faster though, so that's why he has the baseline mana stuff. Okay, so that's good. Sonic Echo. Cost 30 mana and create a Sonic Storm. Okay. The problem with this is you only really get the benefit after the first Psy Storm has ended, because can you only take damage from one Psy Storm at a time? That's how it used to work, right? Oh no, you can take damage from multiple Psy Storms at a time. Oh. If that's possible, then this is a lot better. But if you have to wait, then it's probably not that good. It's nice for some wave clear, I guess, if you're trading in lane, but I don't know. Or like on objectives, like shrines. I don't know. Doesn't seem that useful. It could be useful for burst damage, though, if you can take damage from multiple storms at the same time. After reaching full charge, creates a Psionic Storm. And it effectively has a 10 to 20 second cooldown. Huh. So you do a storm on your AA. So it's kind of like a splash. The thing that's really important about this, and also the plasma shield thing, is that when you're an Archon, your beam is always at full charge. So when you're an Archon, this is only a 10-second cooldown. I wonder if the bounce from the level 1 trait works in Archon. I don't know how it would bounce. If it does, it's insane. Anyway, okay, 13s. This is normally a defensive talent tier. If it's an offensive talent tier, normally their 16 is defensive, vice versa, but normally having the offensive be at 13 is stronger. Roughly. Because you power spike when other people aren't power spiked yet. And it's earlier in the game. Feedback. It's W entry. On targets hit by Psionic Storm, the slow is increased Ooh, that's really huge. So that combos very well with like the level 7 stuff. 60% slow is really big. The 25 armor, I mean, that's just icing on the cake at that point. That could entirely get removed and this talent would still be good. Shadow Walk. Gain unrevealable stealth for how long? 1.5 seconds. Gain a lot of movement speed and armor. So it's kind of like a Raynor fight or flight E with movement speed, so it's kind of like the Will of the Forsaken, but without unstoppable. Instead, you just get stealth. Can be cast while channeling Shockray or Black Hole. So it's meant to combo with those ults, I guess. That's nice for anti-burst, but when you're giving up like a 60% slow, that seems really tough. While stationary, gain 30 spell armor for 0.5 seconds and heal for 12 health each second. Activate your channel for up to 4 seconds. So this is basically like gain 30 spell armor while stutter stepping? Is that how this works? And have the minor amount of heal attached? The heal isn't very important. And then it's also your old trait with vision, but it's at level 13, so it's much more delayed. And you can't just reveal and have like the huge area instantly. You have to channel for 4 seconds. But it is global. Interesting. I still think it's probably just going to be the 60% slow. Thermal Lance. So that's a giant killer talent with the Q resets for burst. That's really good. Sonic Shock deals damage 25% faster, so it'll stack up faster. This basically means you get 25% more ticks over the duration, I think. I assume this doesn't decrease the duration proportionally. Compared to 8% max health, that doesn't seem that good. Gain full resonance beam charge, 15 spell power. I assume that's 15%. Ability cooldowns refresh 25% faster. So what ability cooldowns do you want faster? Force Wall. Ooh. I still think the Shockray is probably going to be too valuable for burst, but this is nice. I could see this potentially being useful. Twilight Archon. It's the same as it was. What is this? Kugel Blitz, okay. Oh, each hero hit by Black Hole creates a Psionic Storm. That's a cool level 20. I like that a lot. Okay, it's like the toilet bowl thing from actual StarCraft. Nice. Force Barrier, increase the range of Force Wall by 50%, duration by 0.5 seconds, reduce the cooldown by 10 seconds. So it's a 10-second cooldown or 11-second cooldown. Has longer range, and it's now a 2.5-second duration. That's nice, but it's not what it used to be. But maybe that would be too good. Because you would essentially get 2 ults. I'm a little bit sad by that. I'm a little bit sad. I wish the duration was maybe a little bit longer, or the cooldown was shorter or something. But maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. 4 spell power for yourself and each nearby ally hero, up to 20. Total bonus is shared with all contributing allies. But it's passive. So if you're in Sanct or whatever, you get your whole team 20% spell power. That's nice, but compared to some of these other ones, I don't think that's that useful. These other things are like team fight, win the game type stuff. This is just like, it doesn't really win you the game, I feel like, most of the time. Testor reworked, long time. Considered a support hero. High Templar, Protoss magic user. They want him to be a ranged assassin. Yeah, he doesn't really have any shielding or utility aside from Force Wall. Kel'Thas and Gul'dan, Psionic Storm. Cool. I really like that. I think there's a couple talents that I think are likely to get tweaked or changed that I think would put him in a slightly better place, but overall I'm pretty happy with that. That's about what I expected, and I think they did a good job, and there's a lot of interesting stuff in there that I'm excited to try out, and there's probably a lot of synergies that I'm not even thinking of or realizing. Zul's OP, they're just nerfing his health. They need to nerf his damage, dude. He does so much damage. Like, he's a DPS and a tank at the same time. It's kind of insane. Okay. Physical armor buffs for not reducing damage. Cool. Army of the Ghouls, I assume that's the same thing as Nazeebo and the Zombie Wall. Yep, they fixed that one also. Garrosh, fail to throw moving targets. That's been a long time bug that people have been annoyed about. I think Leon Black has tweeted about that on Twitter and stuff. So that's cool seeing that get fixed. I wasn't aware of these Imperious ones. Interesting. Stukov thing. Tracer fix. Zul. Okay, cool. So they still haven't, in these notes at least, fixed like the 10 bugs that I've reported from like a month or two ago. So I'm a little bit upset by that, because some of them are kind of very important to Phoenix. Mainly the Divert Power Arsenal Synergy Bomb Splash not refreshing, and the Mobile Offense thing. Those are like the two biggest ones probably. And then the Sylvanas Haunting Wave and Lunara Leap getting stopped or kicked fully by Dragon Knight is also pretty big. I think those are like very high priority for me to get fixed, and I don't really understand why it's taking like 3 months at this point to fix it. And it feels not it feels like you're not being listened to when I make very detailed bug reports and things like that on what I think are kind of high priority things to get fixed. But overall, notes pretty cool. I'm excited to play with these. That's my review.